All right, my next guest, I'm going to introduce my next guest by reading a quote from Einstein. All right? Hey, you know, we get high-minded real quickly around here. This is business strategy and inspiration. It's innovation and inspiration. They kind of come together at certain points in time, just like we bring people together right in the middle of the aisle. How do you like that metaphor? Huh? Pretty good. So here we go. Einstein once said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift." Think about this now. We're in the era of big data. This is a phrase every business person in the world knows right now. Incredible data mining. That's all left brain, right? That's all rational. It's all linear. It's all sequential, looking for those patterns. Sometimes, though, we forget about the right half of the brain, which is where all the creativity and the emotion and the design and the sense of the future comes from, and the sense of inspiration that so many of us get bored at work. We don't know what it is that why do we need to get up in the morning, and what's the higher purpose? What's the mission of the business that we're in? And that's why this particular quote from Einstein and this particular guest is so appropriate. Many of you have come tonight to hear this kind of message, so I'm so pleased to introduce you to Pastor Lee Leander, everybody, right now. Pastor Lee. Surprise, huh? There you go.
How you doing?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right. I love a boisterous pastor. You know, somebody just comes right out and expresses themselves. It's great to see it. Now, you know, inspiration, right? Very important thing. Yep. Tell me the role that inspiration plays in your career, all right? I think I know the answer, but I probably don't, actually.
It's core of what I do.
Right.
And I would say it's core of what everybody does. I believe that the local church is the hope of the world.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about that. What I do every day matters. And I don't think you have to be a pastor to believe that.
Yeah.
In fact, if you're a business owner or an employee or an employer, if you don't believe that when I get up tomorrow morning, I'm going to make a difference, why are you getting up?
You know, Pastor Lee, I have to tell you, you're so right on the money. I asked somebody once, I said, what is the essence of great management? What's a great leader, for that matter? What do they ultimately have to do? And you're going to love the answer to this. I heard this answer. It was their primary responsibility is to create meaning, to make meaning out of the random events that happen all day long, and they fragment us, and everything seems kind of pulls us down. We don't know where we're going, et cetera, et cetera. A good leader can interpret reality and make meaning out of it. And I think that is linked to what you've just said here today. Yeah. So you have a pastor, or you are a pastor, but you think about your career as a business in a way. What do you have in common with the business community? Why is your message even relevant to them, other than the inspiration piece?
Well, I'm selling a product.
You're selling a philosophy.
Right. And I believe that you need to be passionate about it. You need to be innovative about it.
Yes.
You need to be creative about it. You need to be willing to take some challenges.
Yes.
And accept the failures. Anytime you take a chance,
yes,
you're going to fall on your face from time to time. I got a flat nose. I've fallen a lot.
Do you ever get the opportunity, and I say opportunity consciously, to counsel or help business people, entrepreneurs perhaps, people who have started their own companies, maybe they're experiencing terrible adversity, financial problems, right? All kinds of things that can happen, right? And they come to you, or they end up in front of you somehow under some circumstances. How do you find something inside of yourself to help them feel better about themselves and bolster them and help them make meaning out of the situation?
One of the things I like to remind people, in fact, I was talking to people down in Pilger this weekend, just today over the event, and to remind people to not get caught up in today, or even this week, but to look big.
Yeah.
And just remind us that God has a plan, God has a purpose for our life. It doesn't mean every day is going to be peaches and cream.
Yes.
There's going to be some challenging days. In fact, some of those challenging days can end up being the best days of our lives because we learn some lessons there that actually are going to help us when we get on the mountaintop.
So I mean, I actually heard Mother Teresa quoted this, and she said that adversity and setbacks are a gift. So in the context of what you've just said right now, now I know a lot of business people that went through the recession of 2008, and by the way, the residual effects of that thing are still on them, all right? They're living with that. emotionally and psychologically, if not necessarily financially. So they'd be a little cynical about this notion about adversity and setbacks and losing clients and et cetera are a gift, you know? Help us go deeper into that for just a moment. Why?
It's a gift because I think our senses are more open, we're more willing to learn, we're more willing to adapt, we're more willing to change when things are tough. And so when it's those tough times, that's when we can really learn and grow and aspire to new things.
Yeah. And those are fertile times, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because when things are going really well, you're probably not learning too much.
I don't need to learn anything.
Right.
I got it all figured out.
You're just putting along. You're doing your same thing you did yesterday. It worked yesterday. You're going to keep on going today. Right? Yep. And you keep on going down that road, and then sooner or later, right, you find yourself, this is my deviation on this thought, in a prison. And the prison is a prison of assumptions. Well, if we do this, and we work like this, and this is our business model, and we just keep doing this, and somehow it's going to work out endlessly, right? Yep. And suddenly things fall out beneath them, and they go, what happened, right? And then they go through a soul-searing process called strategic planning or psychotherapy, whatever you want to call it, right? Same diff. Yeah. And they have to question, what did I assume that is no longer true? Because the world has changed. Yep. Yeah.
Well, the church is king in preconceived notions.
Yeah.
I can talk to everybody on the planet. They have a preconceived notion about the church. They have a preconceived notion about your business. They know as soon as you say who you are, what you do, or what your business is, they say, oh. And
now I know, and they put you in a box,
you
right?
Don't know. They don't need to know anything more about you. I mean, you might be the best at that, but if they have a negative preconceived notion about that stack of people, you're right there.
I think you need to rebrand the entire church and just see if you can do that. Huh?
We've tried.
I'm sure I get the impression that you're not afraid to try anything. You know, as we wrap this thing up, I find this is a conversation I could go on forever, by the way. But passion is a very interesting quality. You know, people say passion for the business, conviction, get into it, go for it, you know. But then when you walk into the office, you know, you don't see a lot of passion going on most of the time. I don't see a lot of people, you know, behaving or expressing themselves passionately at all. Right. What's the discrepancy? I don't get that. You know, what's going on there?
Well, I think it's easy to talk about passion in the abstract. It's a whole lot more difficult to be passionate day in and day out.
Processing your receivables or looking at your desk and making phone calls to people and so on.
But those are the reasons you got passionate. That's the reason you're passionate about the business. That's the reason I'm passionate about the fact that the local church is the hope of the world. I can't just say that. I got to follow up. I got to talk to people. I got to communicate on Sunday morning. I got to be passionate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I was up till 2:00 last night thinking about what our Savior is going to do with the recent event. And we came up with some great ideas. So you just got to be thinking.
Awesome. Well, you know, as we wrap this thing up, I mentioned Guy Kawasaki. He's an author, a well-known guy. And he said, when you start a business, this relates to you. When you start a business, you can't just say, well, we're going to have a nice little modest business. Here's our business plan. We're going to make some money and it'll be fine. We'll provide this service to these people and everything will be cool. He said, it won't work. You have to desire or aspire to change the world. Right? Whatever little business you have, I don't care what it is, manufacturing clipboards, whatever, you have to find a way that it relates to changing the world. And somehow, I believe that you believe that. I don't know if anybody else in the room believes it, but I think you actually do believe that, Lee. Tell me, as we wrap this up, how do we change the world as business people today? Is it with faith? Is it with service? What is it?
I believe that it is living bigger than yourself. When it's about me, it's going to be a very small world.
It's finite. It's limited.
Very finite. When I say, what is my purpose in serving the world, then all of a sudden I can begin to change the world. I change my children. I change my neighbor. I change a few thousand people at Our Savior Lutheran Church. They change a few thousand people, and all of a sudden, we're impacting the world.
There we go, Pastor Lee Weander. We're talking now about business's secondary agenda emerging as a primary agenda. That's called serving the greater good. Thank you so very much, sir. Appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
Have a good one.
Awesome. Good job, Pastor. Awesome. Wasn't that great?